next guests are the co-authors of the political thriller State of Terror, which is out now. One is an award-winning, best-selling author, and the other is a former senator, Secretary of State, and the winner of the 2016 popular vote. Please welcome to the show Louise Penny and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Real human beings. Not bad, right? Not bad. Well, we're very lucky to have you both on a night that the audience is here. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
You've written nonfiction. Louise, you have written mysteries. This is a thriller. It's a little different for both of you. How was your collaboration process?
It was fabulous, I have to say. You know, Louise and I were friends before the idea was presented to us, and I really came to know her through her amazing series, the Gamache series that I just loved. And when the idea was presented, I think both of us were, a little, wondering, how would this work? Because we were friends. We didn't want to undermine our friendship. And so we dove into it, and we started working on an outline.
Well, we tried to figure it out, didn't we? Like, what are we going to write about?
Yeah.
And we thought, first of all, if you've got a Secretary of State, maybe you don't want to write about a Secretary of Transportation.
Right.
So that was clear, but the rest of it wasn't.
Did you ever say, we could also write about a Canadian mystery author?
Yes, I did. And Hillary kept mixing it. So that was
classic Hillary.
The end. That was classic Hillary. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So then there were times when we were, because this was in the pandemic, right? So we couldn't even get together. Yeah. So we were doing FaceTimes and what about this and what about that? And then there were times we got ourselves so confused. We thought each other's screen had frozen because we were just staring at each other. Like, where do we go from here?
We had these dreams before the pandemic that, we'd meet at a spa somewhere.
Sure.
We'd spa all morning.
We'd spa all morning.
Maybe write for an hour. We'd go back and spa some more.
Have a facial. Exactly.
None of that.
You probably got it done faster this way.
I think I did.
So this is about a new Secretary of State and there's also a character who is a former president who is reckless.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are other words.
He's from Palm Beach.
Well, a lot of people live.
Yeah, a lot of people live it, right. Yeah. But was he inspired by anyone? Was there anybody in the real life?
He is fictional, Seth.
Yeah,
he is fictional. However, having lived through the prior 4 years, it wasn't too hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And the president is someone who gets the country into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of it of his own making, and some of it because he doesn't understand how other bad actors are actually using him.
Right.
So it wasn't too difficult for, Louise and I to think about this fictional former president.
No. But I remember the moment when I asked you, like, what was your nightmare?
Right.
When you were Secretary of State, what kept you awake at night?
Yeah.
And
I had a list.
It was terrifying. So then she went through it, and I said, well, choose one. And you chose the nuclear option.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, the plot really revolves around the great fear that we always had and still do, that terrorists would somehow get a hold of nuclear weapons, either a dirty bomb or something more sophisticated. And it's a plot that we hope never, ever comes true in real life. But it is something of a cautionary tale about what could happen.
When you were Secretary of State, I imagine briefings all the time, and you would have a great burden, I would imagine, on you to make sure you were up to speed on everything. But it would also, I would imagine, be important to find time to, shut your brain down a little bit.
Right.
Did you, in those times, were you reading fiction about worst-case scenarios, or were you reading even lighter stuff?
Lighter stuff.
Okay.
Lighter stuff, but also classic mysteries like the ones that Louise writes, and People and Us Weekly. And, I was trying to keep up with what was actually going on in the world, not just what was in my briefings.
Yeah.
So. Whereas I was reading intelligence reports.
I have a lot more questions for both of you. We will be right back with more from Hillary Rodham Clinton and Louise Penny.